A holiday cut short, the disappearance of John George. John George was a man of simple pleasures. He enjoyed spending time with his family. He worked hard. John, at the age of 37, decided to treat himself to a holiday. He chose the sunny shores of Cabo Roig, Spain. It was a chance to escape the dreary winter of Belfast. He wanted to relax. He wanted fun. What he found was tragedy. On December 14, 2024, John's family last heard from him. He was happy. He was enjoying his holiday. Then, silence. Days turned into weeks. Worry morphed into dread. John's family knew something was wrong. Their once jovial, loving John had vanished. The Spanish sun, once a symbol of John's carefree getaway, now cast long, ominous shadows. His disappearance became a mystery. The once vibrant streets of Cabo Roig now whispered with fear. What happened to John George? From Cabo Roig to a shallow grave tracing John's final days. The clock ticked, days turned into weeks. Hope dwindled with every passing moment. John George's family clung to fading hope. They desperately sought answers. On December 21, 2024, a week after his last communication, John's father reported him missing. The Spanish authorities launched an investigation. They soon discovered John wasn't alone in his final days. Witnesses placed him with two men. These men would soon become the prime suspects, Jonny Smyth and Maly. They held the key to unlocking the mystery of John's disappearance. Weeks later, on January 7, 2025, a grim discovery shattered the silence. John's body was found. He was discarded in a desolate lemon grove in Rojales. He was miles from where he was last seen alive. The sun-drenched paradise of Cabo Roig now felt a world away. The autopsy revealed a brutal truth. John had been stabbed multiple times in the legs. Gunshot wounds scarred his chest and face. This was no accident. John George was murdered. The shadow of suspicion. Jonny Smyth's flight from justice. Jonathan Jonny Smyth, a 26-year-old from County Antrim in Northern Ireland, quickly emerged as a person of interest. His actions following John's disappearance painted a damning picture. Instead of staying put, he fled Spain. Smyth traversed continents, a phantom on the run. He journeyed through Asia. He slipped through the Middle East. He finally settled in Portugal, a country known for its relaxed extradition treaties. He even abandoned his pets, a telling sign of his desperation. But Smyth's attempts to outrun justice proved futile. Spanish authorities, working with Interpol, issued an international arrest warrant. His face was plastered across news outlets and wanted posters. The net was closing in. On March 25, 2025, Smyth's run from the law ended in Braga, Portugal. He was apprehended by Portuguese authorities. He was extradited back to Spain on April 3, 2025. Smyth, now facing murder charges, sits in a Spanish prison. He awaits his fate. Section 4. Michal Maly, Accomplice or Convenient Scapegoat. Michal Maly, a 32-year-old Czech national, presented a more complex profile. A former member of the French Foreign Legion, Maly had a past shrouded in shadows and secrecy. He too became entangled in the investigation. Maly initially provided false information to the police. He misled them about John George's whereabouts. This raised red flags. However, Maly eventually cracked. He led Spanish authorities to John's body. This act of cooperation muddied the waters of guilt and innocence. Maly confessed to spending time with John and Smyth in the days leading up to the murder. He admitted to partying and drug use. But he denied any involvement in John's death. He painted himself as a bystander, caught in a web spun by Smyth. Maly was arrested but later released on bail. He remains under investigation as an alleged accomplice. Whether he is a cold-blooded killer or a reluctant participant in a tragedy remains unclear. Section 5. Unanswered questions. The challenges of a transcontinental investigation. The investigation into John George's murder was complex. It was a tangled web of jurisdictions, languages, and cultural differences. The Spanish authorities faced an uphill battle. They were trying to piece together a crime that spanned multiple countries. Witnesses needed to be located and interviewed. Evidence needed to be analyzed. International arrest warrants needed to be issued. The language barrier added an additional layer of complexity. The investigation required collaboration between law enforcement agencies across Europe. Despite these challenges, the Spanish authorities declared their investigation complete. They concluded that Smyth and Maly were with John around the time of his disappearance. No further arrests are expected. This declaration, however, does not bring closure. It only fuels the fire of unanswered questions. Section 6, Justice for John, a family's plea, a community's call to action. John George's family is now left grappling with the loss of their loved one. They are haunted by the brutality of his murder. They are searching for answers in a foreign land. They are demanding justice. Their calls for justice have resonated with the Irish community in Spain. They have rallied around the family. They are holding vigils. They are demanding a thorough and transparent investigation. The family has set up a Facebook group dedicated to John's memory. It is a space for sharing information. It is a platform for coordinating efforts to pressure authorities. It is a virtual gathering place for a community united in grief and outrage. Section 7, Seeking Answers in the Shadows, the ongoing fight for truth. While the Spanish authorities may consider the case closed, the fight for justice is far from over. Too many questions remain unanswered. Too many shadows linger. What truly transpired between John George, Johnny Smyth, and Michael Maly in those final days? Was John's murder premeditated? What was the motive? What role did each man play in this heinous crime? These questions continue to haunt John's family. They deserve answers. The fight for justice requires continued public support. We must keep John George's memory alive. We must demand transparency from the authorities. We must hold those responsible accountable. Visit the family's Facebook group, share their story, demand justice for John George. Let us be the voice for a man silenced too soon.